Wenn man sie in die Mitte stellt, ist es so wie bei den anderen Harmonien. Stimmt das? Mich dunkt es aber ein bisschen tief. Ah. Noch nicht jetzt, Cola.
Ja, nur testen auf die sehen, aber du musst den einpacken.
Ich finde es schlimmer als andere, ehrlich gesagt.
Ja, es ist ein bisschen anders. Das mit den ein tricky da.
Herzlichen Dank. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunati Yamunati Ravanachari Yamunati Ravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunati Ravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Shri Radhe. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Stuttara Shuddha Srimad Divine Grace Shila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Namo
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Deving Saraswating Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are continuing reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 31, Text 22. Shriyam Manucharatim Tat Artinascha.
Shriyam Anucharatim Tat Artinascha.
Shriyam Manucharatim Tad Artinascha.
Shriyam Anucharatim Tat Artinascha.
Tvipada Patin Vibhudangscha Yatsvapurnaha.
Vipada Patin Vibhudangscha Yatsvapurnaha.
Tvipada Patin Vibhudangscha Yatsvapurnaha. Nabhajati Nicha Britya Varga Tantra. Nabhajati Nicha Britya Varga Tantra. Katam Mamum Udrishet Pumam Kritagya. Katam Mamum Udvishret Puman Kritagya. Shriyam Manucharatim Tadyartinascha. Dvipadapatin vibhudangscha yatsvapurna Navajati nija britya vargatantra Katam mamum udvirchet puman kritagya Please chant.
Shriyam anucharatim tat artinascha
Shiyamanucharatim tathapinascha
Vipadapatim vibhuthamscha yatsvapurnaha
Vipadapatim vibhudanscha yatsvapurnaha
Nabhajati nicha kritya vargatantra
Nabhajati ninja pritya vargatantra
Katam amum utvisrichet puman kritavyana
Katam ahum udvisrijet puman kritagyaha Shiyamanucharatim tat artinascha
Shriyam anucharatim tat artinascha
Dvipadapatim vibhudanscha yatsvapurnaha
Dvipadapatim vibhudamscha yatsvapurnaha
Nabhajati ninja vritya vargatantraha
Nabhajati nija vritya vargatantra
Katham manum udvisrijet puman kritagyaha
Katam amum utvisrichet puman kritatya
Matajis.
Shriyamanujaratim tatar artinascha
Shriyam anucharatim tat artinascha
Vipadapatim vibhudanscha yatsvapurnaha
Dvipadapatim vibhudhamscha yatsvapurnaha
Navajati nicha vritya vargatantra
Nabhajati nija kritya vargatantra
Katam mamam mudvishvichet puman kritavyam
Katam amum udvisrichet puman kritavya
Shriyam,
Shriyam,
the goddess of fortune,
goddess of fortune,
Anucharatim,
Anucharatim,
who follows him,
follows him,
Tat,
Tat,
of her,
of her,
Artinaha,
Artinaha,
those who aspire to get the favor,
those who aspire to get the face,
Cha,
Cha,
and Dvipadapatin,
Vipadapatim,
rulers of the human beings,
rulers of the human beings
Vibhudan,
Vibhudan,
demigods,
demigods,
Cha,
Cha,
also,
also,
Yat,
Yat,
because,
because,
Sapurnaha,
Svapurnaha,
self-sufficient.
self-sufficient.
Verstehst du Englisch? Ein bisschen? Ja, vielleicht. Na,
Na,
never.
never.
Bhajati,
Bhajati,
cares for. Nija,
Nija,
own.
Om,
Prityavarga,
Brityavarga,
on his devotees. Tantraha, dependent.
dependent.
Katam,
Katam,
how.
how,
Amum,
Amum,
him.
him,
Udvisrijet,
Udvisrijet,
can give up.
can give up.
Puman,
Puman,
a person.
a person.
Kritagya,
Kritagya,
grateful.
grateful.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Jai. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is self-sufficient, He becomes dependent on His devotees. He does not care for the goddess of fortune, nor for the kings and demigods who are after the favors of the goddess of fortune. Where is that person who is actually grateful and will not worship the personality of Godhead? Purport. Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is worshipped by all materialistic men except Maha Krishna. Yesterday you offended Lakshmi Devi. We will never forget this. Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is worshipped by all materialistic men, including big kings and demigods in heaven. Lakshmi, however, is always after the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though he does not require her service. Brahma Samhita says that the Lord is worshipped by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. But the Supreme Lord does not require service from any of them, because if he so desires, he can produce millions of goddesses of fortune through his spiritual energy, the pleasure potency. This very personality of Godhead, out of his causeless mercy, becomes dependent on the devotees. How fortunate then is a devotee who is thus favored by the personality of Godhead? What ungrateful devotee will not worship the Lord and enter into his devotional service? Actually, a devotee cannot forget his obligation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead even for a single moment. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that both the Supreme Lord and his devotee are rasagya, full of transcendental humor. The mutual attachment between the Supreme Lord and his devotee is never to be considered material. It always exists as a transcendental fact. There are 8 types of transcendental ecstasy known as bhava, anubhava, sthayi bhava, and so on. And these are discussed in the Nectar of Devotion. Those who are unaware of the position of the living entity and the Supreme Person, Krishna, think that the mutual attachment between the Lord and his devotees is a creation of the material energy. Factually, such attachment is natural both for the Supreme Lord and for the devotee. It cannot be accepted as material. Umagyanatimmirandhasya gananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatang Vitam Tvang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatarine. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is self-sufficient, he becomes dependent on his devotees. He does not care for the goddess of fortune, nor for the kings and demigods who are after the favors of the goddess of fortune. Where is that person who is actually grateful and will not worship the personality of Godhead? Hare Krishna. So, we are hearing again from Narada Muni. Narada Muni is a great sage in our tradition, who is continuously traveling around enlightening the living entities with God consciousness, Krishna consciousness. It's quite interesting if we look at this verse and we compare it with the previous verse, and Prabhupada actually refers to a term which was mentioned in yesterday's previous verse, Rasagya. And Narada Muni here, he also, in this verse, says Kritagya. So it's kind of a poetic thing, no, to use a similar kind of word, Rasagya, Kritagya. Kritagya is one of the qualities of Krishna mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. And Kritagya, as it is translated here, it means to be grateful. It's a very nice word, it's a Sanskrit word, and Sanskrit word, they often bring out a very essential meaning. And what it actually means is Krita refers to something that has been done, and Gya means to know. So if I know what has been done, then I'm grateful. For example, if I know that Guru Nishta Prabhu has cleaned the garden so nicely, then Kritagya, I know his Krita, then I feel grateful. But Srila Prabhupada, he not elaborately, but he speaks about Rasagya in this purport, and we know Rasagya Radhika Mataji, right? You don't know Rasagya Radhika Mataji? She will come today and prepare a nectarian feast for the Lord. She's a cook here in the temple. So her name is Rasagya Radhika Devidasi. Haribol. So this is the name of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani, of course, as we have heard here, the Supreme Lord and his devotees are called Rasagya, full of transcendental humor. So rasa is actually taste. In a crude way it means taste, like rasoham apsukonteha. Krishna is the taste of water. Yes. Or there can be the taste of vegetables. Like in Ayurveda they speak about the rasas, the different kind of tastes. Sour, bitter, sweet, so on. But in a spiritual context, rasa means spiritual happiness, which is relished in the heart. And of course, Srimati Radharani, she is the supreme Rasagya. She is the best devotee of the Lord, and that's why she's called Rasagya Radhika.
And Krishna is Rasa Raj.
He's Rasa Raj, yes. And then there is also Rasananda and Rasikacharya.
And Rasa Das.
So rasa is an important word in our terminology, in our terminology of Krishna consciousness. And Rasa Raj, what means Rasa Raj?
He's enjoying, he's king of enjoying rasas.
Mm-hmm. And Krishna is also called Rasamrita Murti. Right? In the Nectar of Devotion, I think in the very first verse, one of the first verses, Rupa Goswami, he says, Krishna is Rasamrita Murti. He's the embodiment of all these tastes. Yes, so we want to speak a little bit about this rasa today. How much rasa do we experience in our life? Speaking about spiritual rasa.
Jada rasa.
Chada rasa. Chada rasa means material happiness, meaning let's say I eat a pizza, that is also rasa, but it's chada rasa, material happiness. So that we are experiencing all the time. But the problem with this kind of rasa is it's actually not making us happy, but it's giving us suffering. Because we, for example, again the pizza, we enjoy the pizza, and we enjoy more pizza, and we enjoy more pizza, and then a little more pizza, and at one point we have stomach ache, and we have digestion problems, and if we do this every day, we become fat and unhealthy.
Like real brown.
Hare Krishna. So, and then when we are fat, then we are suffering because our body is not healthy. So, this kind of rasa, it can give us a very limited happiness if we control it. Like, okay, I eat 1-2 pieces of pizza and then that's it. But it's not a rasa that I can indulge in it unlimitedly. And that's why this material rasa is giving us suffering, because our nature is to unlimitedly expand this happiness. That's our nature. We are looking for this ananda, rasananda. So that's the thing about the material rasa. But then when it is described here that there's spiritual rasa, and of course Krishna is the source of that kind of rasa, because he is sweet rasa personified. He has all this kind of sweet taste in him. He's very loving. You know this song, Adaram Maduram, very nice song where this devotee Vallabhacharya, he's singing Adarang Madurang, Vadanang Madurang, Nayanang Madurang, Hasitang Madurang, Hridayang Madurang, Gamanam Maduram, Maduradi Pater Akilang Maduram. Vachanang Madurang, Charitang Madurang, Vasanang Madurang, Valitang Madurang, Chalitang Madurang, Brahmitang Madurang, Maduradi Pater Akilang Maduram. There's 8 verses all in that same style, and they describe Krishna. His lips are sweet, his face is sweet, his eyes are sweet, his smile is sweet, his heart is sweet, his gait is sweet. Everything is sweet about the King of Sweetness. His words are sweet, his character is sweet, his dress is sweet, his belly folds are sweet, his movements are sweet, his wandering is sweet, everything is sweet about the King of Sweetness, so on and so on. We sometimes see sweetness also in other people, like somebody can sing very sweetly, for example, but then we cannot say that somebody possesses all sweetness in unlimited quantity, but Krishna has all that. So when he smiles, you actually get an experience of sweetness which is unlimited, incomparable. So this is all good, but our problem is we cannot perceive Krishna. We are not in a condition that we can actually experience Krishna's smile or Krishna's gait. We're just reading in Krishna book how it's described how Krishna walks through the forest of Vrindavan, and how simply seeing his walk, how he walks, his movements, is so captivating. And we are not able to see all these different things. We are not able to hear when he speaks. We are not able to feel his touch. We are not able to see his nice blackish locks. We are not able to see his lotus eyes, his powerful arms. Everything we are not able to see. Of course, when we look at the deity, we are able to see. But then we forget again, usually. And Srila Rupa Goswami explains this problem in the Nectar of Instruction. He's saying that the holy name, the character, the pastimes, the activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet, like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. He is describing why we cannot experience the sweetness of Krishna and his name and his form and his character. And the reason is with us. It's not with him or with anything else, but the reason is with us, that we have a disease. And he's comparing it to the disease called jaundice. Jaundice is the disease that when you eat sweet, instead of tasting sweet, you taste bitter. That's when your tongue is diseased. And in a similar way, even though we come in contact with Krishna, we are hearing his name, we are chanting his name, we are hearing about his pastimes, we are seeing his form, we are tasting his the prasadam, we have a lot of taste, so but everything else we actually, it feels bitter. It's not feeling so sweet, it's feeling bitter. When we chant in the morning, we sit down. When I sit down, I chant in the morning, I feel a lot of bitterness in my heart, in my mind, on my tongue. Because I'm conditioned. I'm diseased. But Srila Rupa Goswami, he explains, like with jaundice, if you cannot taste sweet, this disease is actually caused by eating too much milk products. Some devotee once told me when they had a farm in Switzerland in the 90s, they had cows, and they were establishing the farm. They had a lot of, they were expanding more and more cows. And as it is, when you grow a cow herd, then at some point you have a lot of cows with calves. And when you have a lot of cows with calves, you have a lot of milk. And they had so much milk that they didn't know what to do, so they just prepared all kinds of sweet milk sweets. And especially Shrikant. Shrikant is yogurt, which is like quark. And he said they were kind of forced to eat Shrikant every day several times. And after some time, many devotees developed jaundice. They got yellow eyes, so then they understood that this is not the solution. We cannot just eat unlimitedly milk products. And I don't have experience with milk products, but with jaundice, I have experience with milk products. But I don't have experience with jaundice, but Srila Prabhupada explains that if you eat yogurt, which is another kind of milk product, then you can actually cure. And in a similar way, Rupa Goswami, he describes that the jaundice of our spiritual life can be cured by listening to Krishna Katha, especially by chanting the names of Krishna and hearing the names. And even though it's bitter, even though when I eat yogurt when I have jaundice, it will be bitter, but if I do it as a medicine, then I will be cured at some point. And if I just chant the holy names and if I listen to Krishna Katha, even though it's bitter, at some point I will actually, the sweet taste will slowly come back. Do we already have the sweet taste? Jai Ma Krishna Prabhu. Who has sweet taste of the chanting of the holy name? Do you know? Yes? Sometimes. Sometimes. In the nature we have a taste. Yes, this is also rasa. this is also material rasa. And this is, we also speak, I guess you know well about the Bhagavad Gita. Especially. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about different energies in the material world, which are like the 3 colors. And with 3 colors you can create all colors. So there's 3 energies. And the happiness you can find in the forest is the sattva gun happiness, rasa. But here we're speaking about the spiritual happiness. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Shishi Gornitai Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So the spiritual happiness is different from material happiness. How? It is dependent on Krishna, the spiritual happiness. It's completely dependent on Krishna and our relationship with Him. And of course the different characteristics is spiritual happiness doesn't depend on any circumstances. For example, the happiness in the material world, again the happiness you find in the forest, that is only possible if some circumstances are there. Like, let's say you're in the forest and all of a sudden, it happened actually many times when I'm on a walk, all of a sudden some big tractor, not tractor but when they do some construction site, drives by, then all of a sudden the forest is not again giving this kind of happiness, because it's dependent on the circumstances. But spiritual happiness is not dependent on any external circumstances. You can feel happiness in Krishna consciousness in whatever situation you find yourself in. In fact, Queen Kunti, who is a great devotee, even praised that I feel more happiness when I'm suffering, because then I'm always remembering you, Krishna. I'm always in a mood of surrender. And then I think about you, and when I think about you, I feel great happiness. So that's the difference between the two. And we have to remember that we came to ISKCON for this purpose, to come to the platform of relishing this kind of happiness. Me as a conditioned living entity, when I'm outside in the world, I was suffering a lot, and then I come to ISKCON, I come to Krishna consciousness, and I put on a nice spiritual dress, I shave my head, I have a nice haircut, and I do some volunteer work, I do some meditation, I do some study, and it can happen that I think simply by the externals I'm good. And it happens, you know, I think now I have a big position, so I'm good, I'm doing good in my spiritual life, I'm successful, other people, they are respecting me. No, I'm senior, I'm here, I'm doing so much service. I'm so renounced. And then I become proud. But the problem is I don't have any taste. I don't have a taste to chant the holy name, so it means I'm completely missing the whole goal of my practice. Now I live in the temple, I'm a great devotee. See, I have renounced everything. Look at all the other people, they are still running around, trying to be happy in this world. But I'm in the temple, I have completely dedicated myself, I'm doing so much service every day, look at me, I'm so good. And I'm feeling some happiness, but it's just happiness based on my false ego. It has nothing to do with spiritual happiness. So we have to remind ourselves that this kind of happiness which we are looking for is different. And we can test ourselves. Srila Prabhupada often said, we have to test ourselves. How much am I attracted to material happiness? How much do I develop a taste sitting down, hearing about Krishna, chanting Krishna's name? How much taste do I have? Okay, I'm a big devotee living in the temple who has renounced everything, but how often do I go to the kirtan when there is kirtan? How often do I sit down in the temple room when devotees are chanting the holy name? How often do I go to the classes when there is Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees? And we will often see that often more than we have opportunity, we are not there. Because we don't have a taste. And actually it's not such a problem that we don't have a taste, but again the bigger problem is that we cheat ourselves, we tell ourselves that I'm actually a good person, I'm a great devotee. And that's a problem because at least if I'm outside suffering, I'm confronted with the material world and I see how difficult it is, I'm suffering, at least I know where I'm standing. I know Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam, I know that this material world is a big place of difficulties. And I'm humble because I know I'm just suffering. I'm caught in this network. But if I'm in the temple and I think I'm so good, but I still didn't develop the taste, that's so dangerous. Because then I'm cheating myself. I think I'm good, but maybe I'm even more in illusion than those who know they are in illusion. And if we look at the Shikshastrakam, because here we're speaking about how we can develop the taste, it's very clearly given. Chetodarpanam archanam bhavamaha davagni nirvapanam shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidya jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swadanam sarvatma Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. It's said that by chanting, actually our heart gets purified. And this is the first step. This Shikshastrakam is giving us a process how we can understand to develop the taste. And it's a gradual process. There is Shikshastrakam, Ashtakam means there's 8 different verses, and every verse is giving us a deeper understanding of the chanting of the holy name. And the first understanding we have to develop for ourselves is that we are actually suffering in this world. We cannot be happy in this world. If I put on this dress and I have a nice haircut, but I'm still running around to think that simply by getting a lot of admiration and people will glorify me, that this is now my happiness, then I didn't understand that this will not make me happy eventually. This is not what I'm meant to do now. And I'm just doing my chanting a little bit on the side. I'm doing my reading whenever I have to. I go to the Bhagavatam class, but actually I don't have a taste. But I'm okay, I'm doing good, I'm a great devotee. Everybody is worshipping me. Then I'm missing the point. And then in the next verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he points out that we have to understand that actually Krishna and his name are so great and merciful, but I don't have any taste. See, on the material platform, we can always develop pride. Even if I'm the lowest of all living entities, you will find on the street homeless people. They don't have a home, they don't have a job, they don't have a bank account, they don't have anything, but they are still proud. You see a dog in the street. The dog is such a insignificant living entity, but the dog especially in the West, where we pamper the dogs, you can see the dog is proud. In India, the dogs are very humble because humans make them humble. But here, this is an example. And in the same way, we can always find so many reasons to be proud. And we do. We always find another reason. I'm good, and then I'm proud. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gives a very nice way how we can actually develop real, genuine humility. It's possible if we understand what is actually real life, what is real happiness, and how far away I am. If we really understand that the holy name is actually sweet, at least we theoretically understand that if I would be a good living entity, if I would just chant the name and hear the name, then I would feel immense happiness and I would do it all the time. If I just theoretically accept that fact and then I see that I don't have it, then I can be humble. So that's not the second step he's giving. First we have to understand we cannot be happy, and then the second step is that the real happiness is in Krishna consciousness and chanting his names. And this kind of humility will then give it. If I'm proud, if I'm proud, then it is said, no, I cannot chant the holy name. Only if I'm humble, I'm able to chant the holy name. And Mahaprabhu is telling us the real humility is if we see that we are not devotees of Krishna. As long as I look in my material situation, I will always find a lot of reasons to be proud. I'm so beautiful, I'm so learned, I'm such a good kirtaniya, I'm so active, I do the whole thing, I run around and do service. We always find reason, but real humility here means that I see that I don't have a taste. I don't have a taste. And if I accept this fact, and if I know that actually most of the living entities have a taste in the spiritual world, but I'm somehow caught here and I don't have a taste, then I can become humble, and no matter what situation I'm in, I can always remain in a humble position. And I can think, okay, whatever happens to me, it's because I'm a fallen living entity. Okay, I've done many great things, but still I'm not having any love for Krishna. I don't want to serve him, so I deserve that these things happen to me, that I'm facing problems, people, they are giving me difficulties, they are not treating me properly. I can then accept that this is I deserve it, because I'm also treating Krishna in a bad way. I'm not giving him the attention I'm meant to. And actually I was thinking we can sing this song, which is very, but I think we don't have time, so I don't want to make longer today. This song, which also Prabhupada he quoted, just two verses before in the purport. Hari Hari Bifale. Narottam Das Thakur, he says here that I have wasted my whole life, even though I have this precious human form, I don't worship Radha Krishna. And when he speaks and when we read that, we actually know that this is true. I'm not worshipping Radha Krishna. I do many things, but I'm not really worshipping Radha Krishna. And then he says, this Harinam Sankirtan came from the spiritual world. Krishna came from the spiritual world himself in order to give me, to protect me, to save me. But why do I not develop any attraction to this? he says, day and night I'm suffering in this world, but still I don't take the medicine. And I mean, you can feel it. I'm also speaking a little bit about myself and the temple devotees. We are in a place where we have an opportunity, and Krishna is watching us. How much do we really take to the Yuga Dharma? How much do we really engage in the process? If I live in the temple and I don't engage in the process, then something is really wrong. And I'm speaking here about myself, the tendency to just forget. That's also Krishna, because the taste will ultimately come, it will be given by Krishna, and he's just testing, he's just looking, okay, how much taste, how much faith does the devotee have? And if I don't go to the kirtan, if I don't go to the chanting of my japa with the other devotees, if I don't go to the classes, how will Krishna give me taste? Please, can somebody explain this to me? It will not happen. He will not give this taste because he cannot be happy that we are not engaging, we are not faithfully engaging in it. And also, if you think about people outside, they don't have this opportunity, and then when they see even we are not doing it in the temple, then we have a problem. On the other hand, if we do it, we can show such a nice example to everyone, and there is a dynamic building up. So that's what we have to do. We have to become humble by seeing that we don't have a taste. And to understand that the only solution is to get this taste. And I only get this taste if I engage in it. We cannot just mechanically attain this taste. We have to actually cry for it. We have to pray to Srila Prabhupada. We have to ask that all the devotees give us these blessings, that all the devotees are happy with us and they bless us that we actually attain Krishna consciousness. It's not mechanically. I cannot just sit down alone somewhere and mechanically attain Krishna consciousness. It's given by Krishna when he's pleased with us. So let us remind why we came to ISKCON, why we are in the temple, and then we know what we are supposed to do. And when we do it, everything will be fine. And if we are not doing it, then so many problems will come. So thank you for your attention. Maybe I will send the link in the WhatsApp group. It's actually by Agnidev, who I was listening to this song. And you can listen this day and learn the song. So we are already over time. Thank you for your attention. And Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha, Patitanam Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Dear devotees, just quickly, there is some help needed. You see, Finn came with his family. They are packing cookies today in the library now. So maybe if you don't have any service after breakfast, you could go there and help with packing cookies.
See? So sounds double kind of.
Yes, yes.
It's okay?
Mhm.
Good. Спасибо. Пожалуйста.
Who dressed Chopin? You. Und Conta?
Parasashvali.
Okay.
forgiveness